Right, let's move on to the rookies. We'll start with the offensive rookie of the year. Again, I think this is a short list. I've got two guys, and unfortunately, it would have been Cam Scatterby if it wasn't for the injury. It would have been. It absolutely would have been in my book. It would have been Cam Scatterby.
I'm
But
so torn on this.
I think you're on the right team, just the wrong player, Fred.
oh, really?
That's who I want to write, but maybe I should be different.
I mean, I
definitely had like a good 10 seconds there where I didn't have a clue who you were talking about, and it just penny dropped in my head, and I was like, "Well, idiot!" But yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, Andrew. Carry on, please.
Before the season started, when we did the betting show, obviously we talked about this award, and I was all on one guy winning this award and put some money on him. I think I got him like 14-1 before the season started. I cashed out on it the other week because I just thought, you know what, the person I think is going to win it now is clear favourite. So cashed out on it, got quite a bit back on it, but I still think he's in the running as well as my name. I've got 3 on my list.
Who's top of it though? Have you stayed faithful to your team?
Yes, it's Jackson Dart. Surely Jackson Dart's winning this award. I mean, look what he did last night as well. I know, yes, straight off the bat, he looked fantastic. He looked good. I think he's built every single week. But, you know, contributed for 2 passing and a rushing touchdown again with what weapons has he got? He's lost Cam Scatterby. He's lost Malik Neighbours. He's got people coming off of the practice squad, filling in at wide receiver. Tyrone Tracy's is decent, but he's not, you know, a top 10, top 15 running back. So I think what he's been able to do, the way he looks, the way he plays, I think he's on a very similar trajectory as what Drake May is. I think they've got very similar play styles. And I think Drake May kind of, when he first came in 3 games into the season, we were like, yeah, there's something there. This looks good. And he was working with a lot of a Duffo line, wide receivers that people, you know, wouldn't really have as their backups and getting results. And I think Jackson Dart's on the same trajectory, and we know how well Drake May's playing at the minute. So it's looking bright for the future for Jackson Dart as well.
Do you concur, Sky? Is that, I mean, he's just comparing it to your quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said about Jackson Dart, but I'm still going to go with...
Yeah, that's who I had my money on. That's the guy I cashed out on.
I just think because of Evans getting injured, Godwin's been hurt, Jalen McMillan's not even back. People forget about his neck injury in the preseason, and obviously the Buccaneers are still a force to be reckoned with. He's got 5 touchdowns in 8 games. I know he just had a pretty poor game, but coming off the bye, they're going to play the Pats next. It'll be interesting to see how he does. Well, he's on pace for over 1,000 yards. He's on 5.62 now. I mean, there's always this sort of like, depending on the award, the narratives play into records, right? I guess it depends how many the Giants win between now and the end of the year, whereas Tampa Bay make the playoffs and he's the standout wide out one for that team. Then I think you'll just find a lot of people maybe just get going and edging towards giving him the award. And
that might be why Jackson Dart might not win it, I think.
Yeah, I think the key thing for Egbuka as well, which people didn't expect him to do, is he's getting in the end zone as well. People thought he was just going to be a chain mover, you know, across the middle, sort of like pick up the yards and the receptions, but maybe not maybe a game changer in the end zone. But he's getting those touchdowns as well. So I think he's for me with the start of the season, like I say, I cashed out quite well on it. He's still one of the front runners and one of the favourites for this by the odds. So I think he's got a chance to surpass Dart and win it quite comfortably.
I have gone for neither of them.
You've gone for a tight end?
I've gone for a tight end, yeah. I've stuck very much the theme of this episode so far with the Indianapolis Colts. I've gone for Tyler Warren, and unfortunately, we like the educated people who knew that what he was coming into the draft, and the people who followed college and followed the players in it. And I don't follow loads of college football, but when it comes down to draft season, I find out a lot, and I go and watch a lot, and I listen to a lot. And I would say that maybe the reason why he's third on the list of this now is that he is just doing what everyone expected that he was going to do. He is doing really well. Everyone sort of expected he was going to do really well. There was question marks over Ibuka, like you said, getting into the end zone, just being a chain mover. There was massive question marks over Jackson Dart. Is he going to be NFL ready? Can he fit in with the Giants? Can anybody fit in with the Giants, sort of thing? And Warren's just playing incredibly well. You know, he's incredibly secure, 42 for 57. 42 receptions, 518 yards, 3 touchdowns. All right, he's not getting the touchdowns, but he is being that security blanket for Daniel Jones, and he's where he unfortunately maybe does go down is that the ball is going everywhere in Indianapolis at the minute. If he was in a different team, maybe I think he'd be getting a lot more targets. And I definitely think if he was in a different team that was more focused on him, he would be beating Brock Bowers' his reception record that he set last year. So that's so as much as I think it should be Dart, but I think Warren has to have a shout in there because I think you should still be rewarded even though you're playing to the level people expected you to be playing at. He's still playing incredibly well.
Warren's going to struggle due to the position that he plays. I found this, you know, we've done the show in previous years, and when we talked about offensive player of the year, and I've gone, well, it's Travis Kelce. You know, he's broke every single record for the tight end that he can in one season. You know, receptions, yards, touchdowns, everything. And I'm going, well, he's the offensive player, and it doesn't go to him ever because he's nowhere near the stats of what the wide receivers are putting up. You know, the wide receivers have got more receptions, more yardage, more touchdowns, and it will always go to one of them. So I think Warren's going to have to go a long way to catch Ibuka in that front, just based on volume alone because of the position. But I do think that the tight ends get overlooked for awards.
Gronk never won it.
They should be. So
in his career, Gronk won Comeback Player of the Year in 2014, but he never won that. And I think to the point that Fred made, unless Brock Bowers didn't get it last year, was Jaden Daniels. So, you know, unless he broke that record, I think it's just an easier bet for the voters to go, well, how has Dart elevated the Giants with his injuries, or what, depending on what seed Tampa Bay are and how many more touchdowns Ibuka gets, then it will just go to one of those two. But Scatterboo could have been a decent shout if he didn't get hurt. He's starting to establish himself. It's a shame.
Fan favorite as well. I mean, when you've got Eagles players cheering you on the field, he's one of those players that's he's going to be generational for the sport, not just for the Giants fans. I think everyone loves him, so he would have got that on his a tick on his box as well.
That's two players I like on your and neighbours. I don't like this. This is horrible.
Yeah, it's lovely.
That's three. But we might talk about him later, actually.
I was going to say, do you not think moving on to the rookie defensive player of the year, don't you think he might play for the Giants, Sky?
No. Did you say no as well, Andrew?
Currently, as we speak, as we said, we're marking it now where they are in the season. I've not got him at the top of my list for defensive rookie. There's a player on our team that's outshining him by a long way, and he's not put up incredible stats. He's just playing well in a good front seven defense at the minute. So he's not the guy I've got for defensive rookie of the year.
For everyone who's not understanding who that is Abdul Carter. We're talking about edge rusher.
I struggled with this one because the stats don't light up for many of the players. I know it's not always stats, but
eye test is a guy for me that I think he's been flying around everywhere, and I think he's been really good. And it's a guy that you liked going into the draft, Sky.
Do you want to go on?
Carson Schlesinger at the Browns.
Oh, I got him second.
He's literally
playing wicked.
He's playing so well. If you watch them play, he's everywhere, and he's playing at linebacker as well, which is not a sexy position. He's not that edge rusher sort of like getting all the sacks like Myles Garrett. But I'm seeing every time you put the Browns on, it's him. He's flying around. Which I'm seeing him a lot more than anyone else. I know it'd be very easy to maybe look at the cornerbacks for this award, but just because again you see them highlighted more of what they're doing. But Schlesinger for me currently is the guy.
What about you, Fred?
I mean, I didn't put the research in for defensive rookie. I think the problem with defensive things, it's like we said with the tight end stuff, is that you look at sacks and interceptions, don't you? Whereas I for me, defensive player, I think is an eye test thing. Who's the guy where you watch the telly all the time and he pops up all the time? And I mean, defensive rookie.
I can buy you some time if you want.
No, yeah, you go ahead. Nick Cameron-Worry. I mean,
I might have the recency bias of staying up and watching last night's game, but I just think considering he hurt his ankle earlier in the year, and it's a lot for. We're talking about someone like Jackson Dart coming in. Obviously, like when you sat on the sidelines healthy, looking at the playbook. Don't get me wrong, you can still do that when you're injured, but you're recovering. I think he hurt his ankle against the Niners. I think he led the Seahawks in tackles last night. And he's also been black because Witherspoon's been out. He's been playing a lot of nickel packages. He's been everywhere. Look, maybe it's in my head that it could be at the end of the season he'll establish himself. But I just think that the last 3 weeks, I've taken more notice of the Seahawks in the last few weeks. I think early on in the season, like we were saying about Mike McDonald and that award, it was just more like, is it just they're putting a couple of decent performances together? But now that they're sat at 6-2, I was like, the last few weeks, I'm like, he stood out well. And they've got some decent playmakers on that defense anyway. Again, so for him to come in as a rookie and do that, I like where he's at.
Yeah, I think if I was going to pick one of them, I have to admit, every time I've seen the Browns play, Schlesinger is the one that you hear about. And I like Nick Cameron-Worry a lot. I think Stark's doing all right at the Ravens, but I feel like he just came off of a pretty good game. He had that pick as well.
Yeah.
So he sort of sticks in my brain because he just had a really good game. Have I watched him? Have I watched Ravens week on week to say he's playing at a great level? I mean, they're getting thrown on quite a lot, the Ravens, unfortunately, but I think that's because they're on the field a lot at the moment. They're missing some of their big guys as well. I don't know. I'm this one I'm struggling on quite.
Isn't it crazy that obviously we
tough.
Mentioned him at the start of Abdul Carter? He's actually the favourite currently.
Yeah,
now,
I can't believe that.
Whether they're projecting that through the second half of the season he's going to get more sacks, more tackles,
Has he got half a sack? Or have I imagined
half
that?
a sack.
Yeah.
I mean, his solo tackles are okay. You know, he is putting a bit of pressure on. He passes the eye test in terms of this guy's going to be great. Same with Campbell as well. He's the second favourite. Yeah. Not really put up major stats, but for some reason they're the two that I'm guessing the bookies seem to think they're going to kick on and have a good second half. But I don't know. This is what I mean. It's safeties and linebackers we're then talking about after that, which aren't necessarily positions that stand out on the stats. So it's eye test, isn't it? And whoever you're watching that week.
There's no corners really that have come out from this draft that are lighting the world.
Well, it would have been Will Johnson, wouldn't it? But I think is he back injured again? He was looking like he was playing well, and then I think he got injured again, didn't he? But there's no corners in it at the moment. I don't think. I think he's probably the highest